All right, everyone, this is Life Update email number 83.
And the time for another Life Update email has come upon us. But first, a poem. No poems! In an Edna Mode accent. Sorry to disappoint, but my poetry days are long behind me. A distant memory for which Varley will suffer in perpetuity. XD. Speaking of which, William and Co. was still in the States when we left off last, and hence I shall speak of the times we spent together. Directly following the last Life Update email, I did phoneme and Magic Deck revision. But more significantly, I played frisbee golf till dark with Caleb, Aaron, William, and Matthew. Out at the Leopard course, I consistently did a bit better than Aaron and Caleb, but got creamed by the Varley boys. Still, 'twas a good time. In parentheses, something I've noticed that's interesting is since having cancer, my hands get really cold easily. Like really, really, really cold. To the point of not functioning. Supposedly, that's a thing with cancer patients. Or so the many whack people I read tell me. XD. But funny to actually notice the difference. As we retreated from that palace, I decided to drive down the bike path, and then drive backwards rapidly back down the bike path, during which I accidentally backed into a pile of dirt and consequently totally clogged one of my tailpipes. XD. Thankfully, my car has two, so I didn't wreck anything driving home. But yeah, when we got back, Aaron was like, "Oi!" and gestured to 6-inch deep dirt clogged in my tailpipe. XD. We got it cleaned out, and I don't think there's any damage that the Phoenix can't handle. Hee hee, I love my car. ... Thereafter, I read some, did a second round of phoneme, and then I had a glorious walk with William in the brisk night air through Old Town, which culminated by meeting Ben, Grace, and other Kiwis at Alley Cat, where we began to socialize. However, such was not my destiny, for two nerds were playing Magic at the table next to us, and I was like, "Wait, I'm a nerd," and so I walked over and was like, pushes up glasses and speaks in a nasally voice. "What's up, homesicle? Can I lay out some game with y'all?" Honestly, I have no idea what I was going for there. XD, am I a southern nerd gangster, XD? I feel like I mixed up too many genres to even be coherent, but lol, I'm just gonna full send and keep it. You get the point. Probably. ... XD. So anyway, the point is, I asked if I could play with them. They said yes, so I drove back home, grabbed my magic stuff, and then proceeded to crush them kindly for the next, 2 hours, XD. They were both really new players, and, all my decks were too strong for them, which, lol, is a first XD. But hey, it was better than small talk. And then, that was basically the next day. The next morning, I got up and did IVC for 5 hours. Oh, what fun, ... And I basically just read the whole time. Though Grace actually joined me for the tail end as she got an infusion, and we watched some videos together during that time. Once I got home, I did phoneme, talked to Emerson and Katie for a little bit, did pillbox building, then listening to Personality Hacker for a while, and then was working on washing my vials when Ben, the Grace gang, and the Kiwis were like, "Join us or die!" So I did. We all went to the kava bar only to end up chilling. I, however, got to play a number of queenless chess games, which was quite fun. I played Matthew once and William twice. I beat William the first time without my queen because he wasn't taking it seriously. And then, after that embarrassing venture, he was like, "All right, fine," and buckled in, and it was a much closer game. He won in the end, but it definitely wasn't a done deal. I dumbly gave up my rook for free, and that's what did me in. But until that point, I had made up a queen's worth of ground. Anyway, the chess was good, but the better part was William and I went on a cannon drive before the night was over, and that was big bueno. Finally, once I got home, I did photube and then slept. The next day was Friday, and so I slept in. I did a brief phoneme then before driving, then driving out to the Wades with the Kiwis, during which we had a decently good conversation about free will. Then, once we got there, it was time for mucho guns with David and Braden. See pictures attached. I made sure to take down the names of every gun I shot during that time, though I don't have pictures to go along with them this time. I'm collecting guns like Pokemon, and the new additions are as follows. Oh gosh. 1911 Strebogue AR-15 357 Magnum Remington 700 Roger Precision Rifle. Okay, thus bringing my total to 18 unique guns I've shot in my life. My favorite was the really big sniper rifle that David had, though. It was epic! So yeah, we shot guns for 3 hours. All the Kiwis were pretty blown away by the power in their hands, and that was fun to watch them. XD. We called it a day. when the sun set and it got cold real fast. On the drive back, we continued our free will talk, and then upon arriving back at our house, we parted ways once more. I did Fuan Mei, read some, and then drove over to John's house where we caught up for a spell, before then doing some more Fuan Mei, taking pills, and sleeping. Saturday, the Christmas market was going on at Southgate, so I made a token appearance. I then did a quick Fuan Mei before driving, bringing David and Benj to Airsoft. The Kiwis followed behind us. At the usual place, with none other than the deep-voiced Noah himself. It was honestly a great series of games. We had 9 people in the end, I think, so I got some really fun exchanges, and it was definitely worthwhile. Here's one picture I got. See, very boring picture. And see, it was going well until the very, very end. I rolled over a ginormous patch of cactus and got my butt thoroughly filled with splinters. Like, we were talking at least 100 splinters. It was just the worst. And so, yeah, both William and Benj declined against picking those out of my butt for me. Understandably, XD. Oh gosh. And hence I was forced to hobble back to my car and lay in the back seat until I got home and spent the next 2 or so hours just picking splinters out of my butt. It's a very challenging process, I assure you, XD. Of course, this is the life update that I read. Oh gosh. And though it all, what did I learn? I learned I need friends in my life that love me enough to suffer being mooned by me to pick splinters. Oh no. It's so bad. Okay. And though it all, what did I learn? I learned I need friends in my life that love me enough to suffer being mooned by me to pick splinters out of my butt. XD. That is one of my New Year's resolutions, though apparently Noah said if I had asked him, he would have totally done it for me, so I've already got one good head start. So yes, that process occupied a vast swath of my time, but I did eventually succeed. Then I did Fuan Mei, built my vials, played table tennis with the Kiwis and Grace until eventually it was just me and William, and might I say, he's gotten so much better. I ended up playing him right-handed till they kicked us out, and I was only a little bit better than him in the end. Those matches were far too close. Lol, or I've gotten worse. Also a very real possibility given the lack of practice, XD. But yeah, that was a good time. I got home, took pills, and then slept. The next day, I attended church, had a good walk with Jake, socialized some before drawing my facical garbs for the first time. I was actually a Sadducee, but tomato-potato. And then we practiced for until 2:15. But who are we kidding? I needed 0 practice being pretentious, stuck-up, and intellectual. I mean, really, I was born to be a Pharisee. It's true. Noah and I then rushed back to my house, and we arrived a touch late for the scheduled Minds of the Ages meetup where the smartest people I know, William, Alan, Noah, and I, all gathered in the CSU classroom of old and discussed an intellectual union you plebeians could never hope to understand. Here is the whiteboards of our discussion, which, lol, I even struggled to understand, and I was there, XD. I'm not even going to try to decipher these scribbles. It's a lot. I also shared with them my work on thisness and suchness, and William was immensely quick on the uptake. His lack of education definitely showed in the meeting, but he made up for it with his outstanding fluid intelligence, as any good ENTJ should. Winky face. It was honestly fantastic. Very, very glad we did that. Once I got back from that, I did some Fuan Mei, read some, played a game of Blockus with William and Matthew, before then forcing them to watch anime comedy, which they found far less funny than I think they ought, but you win some, you lose some. And that was that day. The next day was the Varley's last, so we did what we could to make the most of it. We began by playing a game of frisbee golf out by the Budweiser Center, which, first off, has a really nice frisbee golf course, and second off, is huge. There's this pleasant irrelevance margin, or so I shall deem it, frisbee golf. Most holes take 3 throws to the first to just huck the frisbee as far as you can, the second to get it as close to the hole, and the third to sink it in. And see, as long as the hole abides by this 3 throws principle, you can have minimal skill and still perform quite well. Because even though people that are actually good, the Varleys, can do the huck phase with far more accuracy, it doesn't end up mattering because it's still too far to sink in the frisbee. With the second, though, they did end up taking 3 all the same. And so on other courses, I did pretty well because of this irrelevance margin, but the problem was when we came to the Budweiser course where the holes were like 800 yards away, it takes like 4 huck-it phases before you get anywhere close to being able to sink it in. And see, this is bad because when you do it 4 times and the inaccuracies add up, and then suddenly your irrelevance margin evaporates before your eyes. Hence, unlike the other courses which concealed my lack of skill, this one put it all on full display, and on an 18-hole course, I was like 19 points behind William and Matthew, who were neck and neck, by the way, continuing beyond the end of the course for the coveted burger, because, see, what's a good frisbee game without some stakes? The loser had to buy a winner a burger, which, in hindsight, I should have recognized that just meant I was buying some burger, but prior to starting the match, such an epiphany hadn't dawned on me. For I stood blissfully ignorant of the extent of the gap between our skill. With a little luck, that burger could be mine. Oh, how wrong I was. ... XD. Anyway, it was a good game. The only trouble was my hands were so cold that it was kind of sucky. But yes, I drove us all back. We grabbed Wendy's burgers, which were honestly kind of gross. I remember them being so much better. ... And then I headed off to work, wherein I finished my massive docu class cancer book. That book was stupid. I mean, mildly useful, but stupid. In a series of interviews with docs that treat cancer, so it's all over the place. I learned about some very weird, treatments in that book, and I'm personally hesitant to use the golden fountain in my treatment of cancer, if you know what I mean. XD. But regardless, it got done right as work ended. Did Fuaname, got a hot sec to gather all the people, and then organized a trip to the summit, now called something else, but I don't care. It's still the summit to me, XD, where we bowled with berries on the line. Matthew and I ended up with 2 boxes of berries for our victories. We did one lame game of laser tag, and then the employees wouldn't let us bowl in one of the many open lanes, but instead decided to squish us next to a group of shady dudes. So we decided to head to the Myers instead. But before that happened, people had to pay up their berries, so of course we had to visit Walmart. And upon departing Walmart, I street raced Johanna, and it was great. Definitely not the safest thing I've done, but also definitely not the highest speed my car has hit. Hee hee, didn't crest the 125 miles per hour mark. Winky face. But yeah, because I have mucho experience with my car at high speeds, and with that I can take turns before it slips out. Drifting, baby! I was not as cautious as Johanna, and hence ended up decisively winning our little spontaneous race. All the while, William and Matthew were freaking out the whole time. They were sure I was going to crash XD. It was honestly so much fun. By far the best part of the night for me. 9 out of 10 experience. I genuinely loved it so much. Disproportionate enjoyment. Also, this is why you need to not let 2 SE tertiaries have fun together XD. We will make stupid decisions and be totally on board with each other's stupidity. So, yes, questionable driving decisions were made on me and Johanna's part, but we made it back to the Myers without incident and all migrated to the basement. It was at this point when the great Varley finally showed the great part of his title and finally came online. Gosh, it took him ages. I have it on good authority that everyone was like, what does Alex see in this man? Until that point where they were finally like, oh, now I get it. So thank you, William, for showing up socially, if for no other reason than my public image. XD. But yeah, William activated socially, and boy did he activate. Absolutely hilarious. It was a fantastic night, definitely among the best. Emerson and Grace headed home a bit early because Emerson had to work, but the rest of us stayed up until 2, and I got to have a really good debate with William that absolutely murdered Karina. XD, you should have seen her. It was like scratching nails on a chalkboard or something. She just curled into her little inferior TE ball, XD, but honestly, it was such a great debate. Super civil and informative. And then with that, Benj drove us home since we carpooled to the summit. And that was that. That was the last I saw of the Varleys. Absolutely spectacular having them here. Tasty. Well worth it. The next day, life went back to normal. I did IVC, talked with Johanna, got home, did some Fuaname, called with Becky Dawson, took a shower, read my cancer book, watched some stuff with Grace, and broke my diet because, lol, I was getting nervous for my CT scan the next day. Grace and I both went to the gym and worked out, and then I communicated with various people till midnight. The next morning, I got scanned, did some small things, and then went and got a very expensive haircut, which cost way more than I thought it would, but lol, such is life, XD. It is here that I shall include the picture of myself because 1, I need to show you my new haircut, obviously, and because 2, putting one of these pictures Putting one of these pictures of you in your next life update was the price I had to pay to have my phone back at church when Nessa had confiscated it. XD. I did not confiscate it, for record. I just borrowed it. Hence, I'm officially filling my end of the bargain, but I'm choosing the one I look the worst in, mind you. There. Are you happy, Nessa? Are you happy now? I'm thrilled, Alex. Thank you. So yes, my hair now looks less like a clown. I got my CT scan results back, which were detailed in the last cancer update, but the short of it is that nothing changed and my cancer is still stalled out. I then went with Grace to Littlebird, I communicated with various people, wrote that aforementioned cancer update, and then the whole family went over to Raintree together and worked out, which was kind of cool. Once I got back home, Peter showed up at my house and used my bulk to build a magic deck, which took him like 3 hours, and he did not look through near enough cards, XD. During that time, I revised my magic decks, and then once Peter left, it was Fwaname and bed. The next day, I had IVC again, and Nessa and I talked for, I kid you not, the whole time. It was great. I don't know if I ever had a conversation that long and that good, but it was super even, give and take, and just, I don't know, an excellent conversation. Very much enjoyed it, and made the IVC fly by. It was a great conversation, can confirm. Upon returning to my abode, 'twas time for Fwaname, and then I drive back to IVC because they forgot to hairpin lock my port, aka keep blood from clotting in it, and I'm big glad they remembered because otherwise I would have had to have the port surgically removed, most likely, as it would have been clogged up. I then built pillboxes as is my continual plight. I washed vials and got that done in time to go get Krispy Kreme donuts with the Grace gang. We got 24 donuts because they gave us a free glazed dozen for a reason which still eludes me, but regardless, accepting it was such a mistake because I ate way too many donuts, XD. Then we ate donuts. I ate like 6 just that night, XD, and did basically nothing till it was time for Emerson and Katie to head. The next day, I went to work and actually worked the whole day for once. We had to set up for some graduation thing, so I was actually useful. Once I got done with that, I went on a run, did YouTube, and then went straight to church to begin serving as a Sadducee. At this point, you now get 2 pictures, the first taken by Mom, the second taken by a sneaky Nessa. The latter much better represents my Sadducee essence, XD. It's a great picture. I actually had a great time. Noah and I had many fairly profitable discussions. There were times where he would obfuscate, that's not a word, or where I would pivot to an easier topic so he wouldn't have to think and we could put on a good show for a lot of our conversation. We were actually having a genuine philosophical debate. There were 2 nights of being a Sadducee, so I'm just going to combine them into one for the sake of brevity. In all, we were our respective characters for 6.5 hours. 7? I don't know. And during that entire time, we basically never repeated content. I mean, that's not strictly true, but probably only 30 minutes was spent rehashing previous points made. The rest of it was all novel. Noah said he finally got to know what it was like to be an ENTJ, being all pretentious and arrogant and such, XD. Plus, I got to make a lot of sexist jokes that would be impermissible in any other context with the rich women characters, who was fantastic. The first night, there were 3 of them, red-haired girl, whose name I was told but have subsequently forgot because she's not important to me yet, XD. It's Sasha. You can tell how much I value someone by how well I remember their name. Pro Alex tip. Winky face. Emily, the girl whose name I never got, red-haired girl and Emily made fantastic banter duo. Actually love that. But the second time, it was just red-haired girl, but lol, that was still pretty good. So yeah, my feet hurt by the end, and we're definitely still struggling to cover new philosophical ground, but it was definitely well worth it and an enjoyable experience. Would do again. Once we ended the first night, Joe organized a TCBY trip, which was good, but very cold. Eating frozen yogurt in already cold wind was a mistake. But lol, we had blankets that spawned in our cars, so we harvested them and put them to good use. Also, Sam and I shared a cup, so it was less yogurt, hence a little less cold. 'Twas a time. I then had to head out to meet John, Noah, and Neo for the Lord of the Rings anime movie, which probably got more hype than it deserved in my opinion. Kind of an movie. But John and I split this massive pretzel, so lol, it was still worth it. Once I got home, it was midnight, but lol, I hadn't really eaten. So I ate some food, took all the pills I had failed to take throughout the day, and slept. The next morning was IVC, but I did it fast because I wanted to see what it did to my blood levels. Once I got done with that, I did foiname and then talked with Ben at home for a bit. Served my second term as Sadducee of the year, and then carpooled with Sam to the Springers, where I got to catch up on his life briefly, which was big good. And then socialized briefly, which was okay. Before then driving to Joe's, doing some good 1v1 magic, and then heading home and getting to sleep at 1:30 a.m. For obvious reasons, I slept in until 1 in the afternoon the next day. I then got my blood drawn to make sure my liver wasn't suddenly failing, cleaned my vials, did foiname, did a myriad of other things I had been putting off because, lol, I was so busy the last few days, XD. And then I did all my vials for the upcoming week, very briefly socialized with Noah and Melissa, as well as Johanna and Nessa, who happened to just be chilling at our house because of Grace. And then I made it to Joe's just in time for the inaugural restart of a long-standing Monday night Anna Men, Mine Men, Brawl Boys tradition. Brawlhalla! That was a lot. Yep, we started playing Brawlhalla once again, and it was great. Still got my Kia skills, even won a few rounds, winky face. Once I got back home, I cracked some letters and then called it a day. The next day at IVC, I got so close to throwing up. I suspect that perhaps my omega-3 oil has gone bad, because man, so close. But my vigorous intolerance for throwing up combined with my exorbitant willpower meant that I did not. Hence, I reigned victorious, smiley face. After that, I watched a lot of YouTube because I felt mega sick and couldn't concentrate, but I also read some of my cancer book. Once I got home, I did foiname, vibed with Katie, Emerson, and Grace at our own little home brew Christmas party. Katie got me a Lego flower, so I built that, and we all drank hot chocolate, spelled with a K. Chilled by the fireplace and watched nostalgic stuff from the three girls' childhood. I built a Cranko deck during that time, mind you, a far more fulfilling use of my time, XD. We then drove down to Old Town, got Vacos Tacos, something Grace and Emerson love, but I thought they were just okay. And then we played pinball at Pinball Jones, which was honestly super fun. There were tons of quarters beneath the racing games, so everything ended up being free, and Emerson and I played a bunch of pinball games together, and Grace and I faced off in air hockey, in which, of course, I was the victor, but she put up a good fight, winky face. It was honestly a very fun way to spend the day. I think I enjoy these three so much because it's a chance to just let my FI out without judgment. Well, I mean, there's judgment, but it's all FI judgment, not FE judgment, XD. How do I explain this? You would think that FE would be less judgmental than FI because they want to maintain harmony, while FI is honest, so they tell it like it is. And, in a sense, FE is less judgmental, but FI is less judgmental in a different way. FI judges you like, you're weird. But if FE judges you, it's like, stop making me look weird. Hence the sense in which FI is less judgmental. Sure, there are numerous times when all of them look at me and like, my guy, you're an idiot. Like when I wear my Attack on Titan cape around in public. But at the same time, they're still perfectly happy with my presence and associating with my weirdness because they understand that's me, not them. FE types, however, don't think everyone is judging him. They naturally think everyone is judging us. So they ood a lot more pressure for me to just, well, not. XD. Hence why I find I types less judgmental and why I feel like I can let my inferior FI out around them. Regardless of the reasons, I enjoyed my time and it was a little fun gathering. Once I got home, I modified more decks and talked with Ben and we had a bro to bro NI moment. Our predictions and interpretations were pretty similar actually with a few key differences, so that was fun. The next morning began foiname, then went on a drive with Johanna, which I found super helpful. Once I got home, I took a nap, started learning some new psychology stuff, and then did pillbox building until Ben showed up and we played racquetball. Our recent racquetball games have been intense, and we've been far more evenly matched. I think we're both just trying harder, XD. Once I got back from that, it was YouTube, more learning, and then sleep. Thursday, I did IVC, as per usual, which during that I read my cancer book and learned some psychology. Oh, and I found this deal where Uber is giving you $60 of free food as well as free delivery. So, lol, capitalized on that, XD. Upon getting home, you guessed it, foiname, and then from there, I met Ben at Alley Cat to have the most sincere conversation we've basically ever had. It was fumbled through to the nth degree, and not well done at all, but I'm still glad we did it. Very good. After that, I went on a drive to process things, worked out, did another round of foiname and some more research, and then slept. Friday, I slept in, which was much needed, journaled pretty extensively, did fwanime, then racquetball, more fwanime, went on a lengthy night drive with Noah, which was fantastic, super grateful for that man. Once I got back, Katie, Emerson, and Grace were hanging, so I joined them, and we got canes, and get this, debated for most of the night, XD. I mean, Emerson kinda died. It really seemed like those FI doms have no tolerance for a good-spirited debate. But Grace and Katie went at it. Hee hee, flexing that tertiary TE muscle. I mostly watched, kind of amused. It was like kids practicing martial arts as an MMA master. I stepped in at a few places, but mostly let it play out and engaged Emerson, who zoned out for most of that debate. I think me and her had one of the best conversations we've ever had during that time. Very good. The next day, I did IVC, but started adding to my regime, so it's now IVC arty. Did that, took ages. It literally 7 hours, because now I have 2 bags to get through. But thankfully, Mom was willing to drop off my free Uber food to me at IVC arty, which was super kind of her. Thus, I was able to scarf that down, drive to Loveland to pick up the best white elephant gift ever, and then get to the Myers in time to join Johanna, Cannon, Benj, and Nessa in learning how to dance. Karina and I mostly got it by the time we had to come up and eat food, but not quite. XD. Can confirm Alex is a bad dancer. We then ate food. April could not remember her joke, and it killed me. Everyone arrived, and I did big socializing, but mostly with this new girl named Brooke, who's an INFJ, and was interesting. INFJs are always interesting. Not on the surface. On the surface, they're stupidly average, but once you get past that, they're quite interesting. I also feel like I got to know Emily better, ironically, even though we hardly interacted. Here's a picture of us all. Around this time, we also did White Elephant gift, and Karina opened my fantastic gift and immediately regretted her decision. XD. See, my gift for the White Elephant was none other than a taxidermied rat. Oh my gosh, the reaction was beautiful. So worth it. Noah, you have brought joy and life into this world, though you're rats, and am blessed to be a vessel of their distribution. XD. Cannon actually ended up stealing it from Karina and put it on his mantle, which just makes me infinitely happy. Check this out. Actually, so good. So yes, did that, then played some communal games, which were but I guess kind of fun. We literally played Duck, Duck, Goose. I'm too disappointed to even be mad about it. XD. And then I called it a night. Once I got home, I took some pills, did some small stuff, and then slept. Sunday, I attended church. To my surprise and delight, Adelie also joined. Got to catch up with her some. That was good. It was during this time my phone was commandeered and many a picture taken, but lol, some of them are pretty great. Hence, I will share them. XD. First, the shocked twins. Fabulous pictures of Benj and Sam. It is solely because of these pictures that I am now certain we descend from apes. XD. That's fabulous. Next, the Playboy. Genuinely a touch concerned for Levi as he grows up. Lily, on the other hand, zero concern. Anyone that can look like that is going to turn out fine. XD. Finally, the Chadette. Johanna was actually meant to be a Chad deep down, and we all know it. And then just a few other good ones. All very good pictures. And there you go. That's what I deal with every Sunday. XD. Once I get back home, 'twas vile cleaning before heading over to the Bowens, who now have a child, by the way. I still maintain that it makes no sense to me why someone would want one of those, even if they are the latest model. Oh my gosh, Alex. But yes, Halo was played at the Bowens like the good old days, and I actually did really well. Neo won the majority of the games, obviously, but I basically always came in second, so lol, that was fun. And I won a few games myself, too. Halo is a good game, big fun, and we did our Life Day gift exchange, and Sydney got me this mug, which I'm immensely pleased with. XD. Upon getting back from that, I worked out, did fwanime, journaled some, did pills, and then slept. The following morning was designated as our family Christmas, though it was Christmas Adam, because both Mom and Grace were flying to New Zealand the next day. Hence, we commandeered our snow day trashin', though lol, there was no snow. Which, might I say, it has been a very odd winter thus far. We've gotten like 0 snow all winter long, which is kind of whack. Regardless, went down to the Silver Grill, got da food. Then Mom had us do another thing, which we each got $10 and went to the Ark and bought gifts for one another, which was honestly kind of fun. I mean, I got this whack rock fountain, so like not ideal, but I'll give it to her. It was a fun idea. Thereafter, we cracked some stockings, which were actually far more significant in nature than I anticipated. A lot of pretty cool stuff in there. Mom went really all in this year, XD. And then we chilled at Mugs and all did our own thing for a few hours before then going back home and watching the first episode of Beast Games, of all things, while eating good soup. From there, it was for reals present time, in which the parents gave us each a significant sum of money, which I am big grateful for, as well as a photo album of our childhood, because they have many, many pictures, XD. Only one of which I shall share, because I thought it was actually pretty good. It's not. Hee hee, guess who it is? Guess who Ben is, and guess who me is? XD, also yes, I was very blonde when I was small. Deal with it. After spending some time looking at these pics, we ended the night by driving out to see some of those fancy Christmas lights, which was I would say they're overrated. But you win some, you lose some. Here's a picture. And with that, I gave the female members of the family hugs and goodbye and went to bed. I slept in on Christmas Eve, finished one of my cancer books, did Fwaname, worked on a new magic deck, went to the gym to run, but they were closed, which is fair enough. So I decided to run in the real world. Gasp! I know, it's crazy! And so I did a slower 4-mile run down to the creek trail and back. For some reason, the muscles on the front of my shins, or approximately that area, mega burned, like that whole run. But must have something to do with running on pavement. I don't know. But yes, did that successfully, got home, worked on this life update, did more magic deck creation, got some random pie from this dude who showed up at my door, ate it, did Fwaname, read a little, saw Grace again because her flight got canceled, and hence she had to come back home before she flew out again the next day. And then it was just small stuff and sleep. The next morning I awoke to like 5 Merry Christmases upon my portal to the great mind, and I felt a baby warm fuzzy sprout to life inside of me. It looked up at me with big innocent eyes, and of course, then I killed it. Is anybody surprised Alex has no soul? But it was for science. You see, because once dead, I was able to logically detect it and its properties became more understood. Hence, I came to realize that it was the baby warm fuzzy was born from the union of you thought of me and it's Christmas. Hence, I figured I were to spread the pandemic of warm fuzzies, and I would like to do so today, lest the season pass me by. Hence, I engaged in such acts, and it took like 2 hours because apparently no more than 1 people. And also, if you text people, they text you back, and conversations ensue. XD. Who would have thunk? Anyway. I wished a Merry Christmas in a many unique way, did Fwaname, built cancer vials and pillboxes, all while listening to personality hacker podcasts on 3.5 speed. I've developed a tolerance for double speed plus speed, and now I have finally reached the pinnacle of 3.5, the highest Spotify will go, XD. I should have been doing this for ages. It's like so much more efficient. Also, to completely break chronological orders, I'm pretty sure I accidentally skipped a day because I distinctly remember driving to Boulder with Grace, Nessa, and Emerson, and then chilling in Chiba Hut with Benj, Ben, and Nessa. Oh, and also being mega cold while looking over the city. I wonder if I have pictures of that. Yep, lol, found them. Insert picture of me looking horrible. Thanks, Alex. So, yeah, I apparently didn't write that day in my notes, but lol, at some point we all went to the gym together because couldn't decide on what to do. So we ended up driving to Boulder, went to Chiba Hut because lol, it was the only place open, and then drove up to the cool place that Ben knows that would have been nice to stay at if the wind didn't make it freezing. Hence, we left promptly. Oh, and then on the way back, Ben and I had one of the best conversations we've had so far. Was very good. So yeah, at some point in my life, I did those things too. Don't ask me when, I have no clue. But I did them. Let it be known to all. Okay, back to chronological order. Just as I finished my pillbox, Uncle Dusty arrived with an epic gift in tow, a 3D printer. Check out this bad boy. Also, yes, my PLA spool is a pill container, propped up by a deodorant. Don't worry about it, XD. So yeah, Uncle Dusty gave me a Pruaza Mini, which is actually a really nice printer, along with like 6 things of old PLA that he had. So that's been super exciting. I've been printing basically nonstop for the last 3 days, and now finally have deck boxes for all 34 of my magic decks. Nerd. XD. Actually, such a cool gift. I've wanted a 3D printer for ages, and now that I have one, my engineering mind has just been going brrr about all the things that I can make. XD. So yes, that was epic, and basically all I did the rest of the day was get that thing set up and taking some pills. The day after, Christmas was spent mostly at IVC art. However, I also did Fwaname, worked out, journaled some, got to go on a really good drive with Johanna, did a second round of Fwaname, and then sleep. Finally, as for yesterday, I slept poorly because I was thinking about all the stuff I could make with my new 3D printing capacity, then proceeded to meet up with Cannon, Johanna's boyfriend, for those that are unaware, and we talked for nearly 3 hours at Lima, and that was also a really good conversation. Now that I've gotten to know him, I like Cannon significantly more. 7.5 out of 10 human. Once I got back from that, I did brief flaname before getting on a call with Dr. Adrian, Canada doc, and was basically like, yep, keep doing what you're doing. And I was like, good talk, XD. And then worked out, ate food, and called with Jordan from across the pond, and then did small things until sleeping. And once again, welcome to the present. Well, lol, not at the time of me writing this, which is necessary. You're past and hence not the present, so I take it back and forget I said anything. XD. Hope you all enjoyed thy Christmas, and if you have any interesting or entertaining tales, I would love to hear them. Smiley face. Talk to you all next time.